Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Focus with Fido, and we have a brilliant video for you guys. So what we're doing essentially, we're taking this post that I found online, and the title of the post is Exposing Skerrit's Weapon of Fear and Wealth Blockage to Cement His Grip on Power over Dominica. What we essentially did, we just copied this post as it is and posted onto an AI podcast where they will comment on it, what they think it means and everything, and we will just listen to what they have to say. This would give us a very different perspective instead of, when we interpret these things, some persons may think that we are directly bringing in a narrative that is probably not there. But when we have the podcast by AI technology solely, and the AI have to interpret the everything that's happening, then maybe we'll have a different output. Let's see what the AI can put together. Let's see what happens. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Again, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so you can be notified every time we post or upload.
Dominica, huh?
Yeah.
Roosevelt Skerrit. Wow, 2 decades leading the country. I mean, that's got to make you wonder, right? What is it about this long-term leadership that caught your eye? Yeah, then it's like when someone holds on to power for that long, you can't help but wonder what's really going on. And this source we're looking at, Exposing Skerrit, they don't hold back. We're talking some pretty serious allegations about Skerrit and how he maintains control. Luckily, we've got an expert speaker here to help us break it all down, right? They're kind of a pro at dissecting these power dynamics.
It's really interesting how this source connects these different things, like crime, how wealth is spread around, even the Citizenship by investment program. They're saying it's all connected, a system, a strategy.
Right. It's like you usually think governments are, trying to fight crime, but here, this source is suggesting it's almost encouraged.
Yeah, that's the implication, that it's
Yeah.
intentional. Exposing Skerrit claims that crime, we're talking fraud, money laundering, even violent crime, it's actually gone up under Skerrit.
So their argument is this isn't just incompetence, like the government's not just bad at their job, it's deliberate to keep people afraid.
That's what they're suggesting,
Yeah.
The idea is that if people are afraid, they're less likely to criticize the government, to, speak out against anything they disagree with.
Wow, okay. So fear tactic number 1. What kind of impact are they saying this fear is having?
Well, they give this example of business owners actually leaving Dominica, saying it's just too dangerous to stay. Which, that's a pretty powerful statement, right? It's not just theoretical, this fear, it has real consequences. People are leaving, the economy is affected.
Yeah, that's it's kind of chilling when you think about it. So we've got fear is one tactic, but then there's this whole economic side of it too, right? Specifically this Citizenship by Investment program, or CBI. Can you break that down for me a little? I'll admit I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
Sure, so imagine this. You're an investor, right? And you want citizenship in another country, maybe for the passport, maybe for tax reasons, whatever. With CBI, you can basically buy your way in. You invest a large sum of money in Dominica, and boom, you're a citizen.
Huh. That sounds surprisingly easy. And, I don't know, maybe a little too easy.
That's exactly what Exposing Skerrit is getting at. The source alleges that there's a lot of corruption around Dominica's CBI program. Like, Skerrit and his close allies are supposedly taking this money for themselves instead of it, actually benefiting the country.
Hold on, so you're saying not only is there this alleged climate of fear, but on top of that you have a system where most people are struggling, but a select few are getting incredibly wealthy.
And it's a system that Exposing Skerrit ties directly back to Skerrit himself. They're saying it's not just about greed, it's a way to control things. If he can keep the majority of people reliant on this system, a system he's allegedly profiting from, it becomes much harder for anyone to challenge him.
It's like a vicious cycle or something. And then on top of that, they connect the CBI program back to the crime issue. It's like one of those conspiracy boards where you follow all the strings and they lead back to the same person.
It does, doesn't it? And that's where Exposing Skerrit wants to take us. They're claiming that this CBI program, it attracts a certain type of investor, someone who benefits from, let's say, a more relaxed approach to law enforcement.
Wait, are they saying the government is potentially profiting from a program that attracts criminals?
That is the allegation, yes. They're drawing a direct line from Skerrit's government to the CBI program to this alleged increase in crime. It makes you wonder, is this program really about legitimate investment, or is it about creating an environment where Skerrit and his allies can prosper, even if their dealings are ethically questionable?
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. We've got fear as a weapon, we've got this potential economic control through CBI, and it all seems to circle back to Skerrit. This is a lot to process.
It is a lot, yeah. And it's, some serious accusations being made here. We have to remember that all this is coming from this one source, exposing Skerrit. So, we have to look at this critically. Do these claims, do they hold up when you really examine them?
Right. It's like we've got all these puzzle pieces, but do they actually fit together? What do you think? I mean, have you seen these kinds of tactics used before in other situations?
Oh, absolutely. The tactics themselves, using fear, controlling access to wealth and resources. I mean, those are unfortunately pretty common tools. We see them in authoritarian regimes, throughout history. I think what makes exposing Skerrit so interesting is the way it ties everything together. It creates this narrative, a way to understand how Skerrit has managed to stay in power for so long.
So are they onto something then? Is this like a cautionary tale, Dominica, a story about how power gets consolidated and then, abused?
It certainly raises those questions, yeah. For example, they claim that crime in Dominica has increased under Skerrit. Well, can we verify that? Is there data to support that claim? Yeah. What are other sources saying about crime in Dominica?
And the CBI program, that's a big one. If they're right and it's as corrupt as they're saying, I mean, that's huge.
It is huge. And it's not even just about corruption, right? It's the potential for abuse. If you can just buy citizenship in a country, what does that do to the rule of law?
Yeah, who are they selling it to? And what are those people getting in return?
Exactly. And that's what's so troubling about this link exposing Skerrit makes between CBI and the increase in crime. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, the government is complicit in this, or even profiting from it.
But how do you prove something like that? I mean, wouldn't it be really hard to get concrete evidence, especially if the people in power are the ones who benefit from keeping things hidden?
It's incredibly difficult. You're absolutely right. And that's why it's so important to be aware of these tactics, even if we don't have, that smoking gun. Whether exposing Skerrit is completely right or partially right or even completely wrong, the point is, just thinking about these things, how these systems work, it makes us all less likely to be taken advantage of.
Right, like that saying, knowledge is power. The more we understand these systems, the less likely we are to be fooled by them. So I guess, what's the biggest takeaway you hope people get from this, from exposing Skerrit?
I'd say the most important thing is this: be skeptical.
Yeah.
Question everything. Don't just accept what people tell you, especially if they're in a position of power.
Right.
Do your own research, look for different points of view, and never, ever be afraid to ask why.
I love that. Challenge everything, right? No free passes, no matter who you are. That's the tough part, though, isn't it? Like, figuring that out. Because there's always some level of, wealth inequality. How do you tell a difference between just a system that's kind of messed up versus one that's being deliberately manipulated, like what exposing Skerrit is claiming?
Yeah, you're right. This is a really important distinction. And it's not always easy to figure out. It takes paying attention, thinking critically, being willing to question how things are. But here's the thing. Even if exposing Skerrit is wrong about some things, or exaggerating just the fact that we're thinking about it, right? When we're talking about these tactics, how they could be used.
Yeah.
It makes us less likely to fall for it, less likely to be taken advantage of.
So knowledge is power, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so after this deep dive, this whole exposing Skerrit thing, what's the one thing you hope sticks with people? What's the big takeaway?
That's a good question. I think it's this: be skeptical of everything. Don't just take someone's word for it, especially if they're, in a position of power. Do your own research, look for different sides to the story, and always, always ask why.
I love that. Challenge everything.
Exactly.
No free passes. So to everyone listening, what do you think? This deep dive painted, a pretty intense picture of Dominica. Do you see any parallels, maybe to the other countries, other leaders, even your own community? Think about it. Do some digging, and we'll see you at the next deep dive.
So, there you have it, guys. This was what they had to say. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And if there's another post online that you want me to put into the AI so they could do the podcast so that we could listen to what they think, then do not hesitate to do so at all. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Don't forget to hit the post notification bell so you can be notified every time we post or upload. Focus with Fido is signing off.